Saturday, January 31st, we have a 3-game slate over at DraftKings. Yes, we are back. Champions League is over. 3 games, rotowire.com/soccer. Got a bunch of FBL stuff. Got a bunch of fan tracks, sleeper. Got our usual content for the week in addition to everything else. YouTube 15% off a subscription. That is over at rotowire.com for everything, for every sport that we offer. We got a bunch of people that work here and a bunch of sports we cover. So you can get a bunch of stuff with that subscription. Let's get into the slate here. Guess what you can get? You can get cheat sheets with that subscription and access to our Discord. That is rotowire.com/chat once you're subscribed. But here we go. So we have Wolverhampton home against Bournemouth, Leeds home against Arsenal, Brighton home against Everton. I think it's kind of a weird slate, some weird pricing by DraftKings that make it weird. Arsenal, the biggest favorite. They're not a massive favorite, a big favorite though. Nevertheless, I think they're minus 180 on the money line, almost 62% chance to win at Leeds. I do think that's a little high. Leeds have played well at home, but their implied total 1.84. Leeds are 0.83. Brighton are the next biggest favorite, just about 51%, 1.68 implied goal total. Bournemouth at Wolverhampton, slight favorites there. Wolverhampton have slightly been playing better, but Bournemouth 1.58, Bournemouth and Wolverhampton are 1.39. So pretty tight games, but that wouldn't be implied by the prices that we're looking at. I think we go through some of the prices and it's just kind of all over the place, legit all over the place. I'll go through lineups here to start things off. The main thing with Wolverhampton, Krejci is questionable. He has an illness. We'll see if he starts. If not, it'll be someone else playing center back. I don't think it's a massive deal here for DFS purposes. We could see Hee-Chan and Tolu back up front. They looked a little different last week at Manchester City, but Bournemouth, they added Ryan, Rayyan, and he is not. Oh, okay. He actually is in here. They just signed him. They just signed him days ago. So he is in DK. So that's a good. There's a chance he actually starts. He was mentioned today in the press conference, and he's at 6,900. But he's a 19-year-old from Brazil. If he starts, we could be looking at 45 minutes. We could be looking at 60 minutes. He's not getting 90 minutes on his Premier League debut as a 19-year-old. Sorry to say, but that is a possibility. He could start in the attack. I think it would be a surprise because it'd probably be over Amin Adli, or it could be over Jimenez in the spot. Jimenez would move back to Adam Smith's role, but those would probably be the spots where Ryan could actually start. David Brooks is still out, and pretty much everyone else is still out. Ryan Christie also technically could be an option to start. I don't think he's even started once this season. Leeds, I don't think there's too much in here. We could see technically Sean Longstaff back in the 11. He's been getting more minutes. That would mix up some set piece situation, but against Arsenal, I don't know how much you want to bank on set pieces. Gudmundsson also getting closer. Daniel James. And as for Arsenal, I think the big question will be, we saw it happen. Kai Havertz went 45 minutes midweek, and Arteta said Friday morning, hey, Kai Havertz is available to start. He is ready to go. But another situation where I'd be surprised. He would be probably the only player who actually starts Wednesday and then starts this Saturday game, which wouldn't make any sense. He's been out all season. You wouldn't push him back to start back-to-back matches in a short week. It would make no sense. I think the question, and massively for DFS, we got a difference of Gabriel Jesus could start or Gyökeres could start. I think that is the big thing. That big question in this one, obviously, Gyökeres started midweek, had a couple goals. Jesus has looked okay lately. He has a couple goals recently. Wouldn't say he's been elite or better, noticeably better than Gyökeres, but again, Kai Havertz also thrown into the situation. So whoever starts up front, we could be looking at 60 minutes. I think that's the real issue there. Jesus 6K, Gyökeres, big thing here. Why is he 4K? Why is Arsenal's starting striker 4K as the biggest favorite on the slate? I know he hasn't scored much lately, but I don't I don't know. Whatever they're using is incorrect. So unfortunately, like I don't want to dive into it, but he is the same price as Tolu for Wolverhampton. Tolu averages 2.6 points per game. Gyökeres is on 5.7. He's cheaper than Hechan. Okay. Hechan is 4,300. 3.9. He averages 3.9 points. Okay. Noah Okafor, who's playing Arsenal, averages 5.1 points per game. Gyökeres averages 5.7, but Okafor is 1,500 more. Like what are they using here? It just kind of ruins the game a little bit that our possible Arsenal starting striker is 4K. It just makes no sense. It's not like he hasn't scored all season. I know he's been bad, but he scored. That's why I'm bringing up the averages, because he is actually getting goals. I don't know. There's nothing really else to say. It's just kind of stupid. Either way, Brighton home against Everton. This Brighton lineup. We have a couple situations. I'm not sure Minta will start. We could get Gruda starting. Gomez isn't 100%. He may move out of the 11. We'll see if Ruder's back in there. They got a few things. They're fairly healthy. Guys like Ayari, again, Diego Gomez, Hinshelwood, all could come in here to Kuiper. So this lineup may be the most unreliable of everyone's, because Hertzler likes changing things up as well. No matter, Pascal Gross is playing a bunch. So he's going to be a DFS favorite. Dewsbury Hall is a big one. He returned on Monday from his hamstring injury. I expect him to start. He would move out Harrison Armstrong, and that would mean Dewsbury Hall and James Garner would probably return to the split of set pieces. We could see Branthwaite back in here as well for Everton, but again, another guy who's been out all season. I don't really think he's going to start here in his second appearance of the season. He could. If he starts, it'd be Keane. Also, Michael Keane is back from his suspension, so we'll see what this looks like. But if Branthwaite's in there, it'd be Branthwaite and Tarkowski with Jake O'Brien playing at right back. But I think for the most part, Nathan Patterson has played fine at right back, so I think he holds that role for now. Could be wrong, but that's kind of what I think. So here's what we're looking at. Again, I plugged my projections into the RotoWire optimizer. And of course, we have these incorrect pricings that stand out. Gyökeres at 4K as Arsenal striker, he's gonna stand out. So there's not really any way to get around that. So that kind of ruins any optimizer to have just incorrect pricing like that. You could remove him from your pool if you want. That's fine. So more incorrect pricing if we're basing this off of floors here. So for cash games, if Ryan Christie starts, he's 3,300. But more importantly here, lately, Lewis Cook, and let me cook into Lewis Cook's profile. Lewis Cook and Alex Scott will probably have a split of set pieces. That's kind of what we're looking at. There's only been one game since that Tavernier injury. It was a Liverpool match. It looks like Adley also had some kind of set piece in here, but probably Lewis Cook, Alex Scott will be on. Let me just double check, see if Alex Scott did take a corner. Actually, Alex Scott did not take a corner. He may fully be off corners. It may have been Adley actually taking a corner. Maybe not. Maybe Lewis Cook may just have every corner for Bournemouth. So I guess you kind of look at it like that. So for cash games against Wolverhampton, I know Wolverhampton are playing better, but you could have Lewis Cook taking every set piece for Bournemouth, 3,500. Okay. Alex Scott is a little cheaper. He's no longer on set pieces, which kind of kills a lot of his value, but he still is more attacking than Lewis Cook. So again, another pretty cheap option here. Lewis Cook, 3,500. Plug him in. Krupi is 5,700. Minutes concern. He has had some good games this season, but there is a minutes concern. Evan Nielsen, 7,700. And then the other player I wanted to mention, Jimenez. I mentioned a little bit ago. So Jimenez playing as this more of an attacking spot due to all their injuries. He's been more forward. We saw that. I guess it was just once, but he had been doing that previously. I think 4 starts in this more attacking role. He got the goal last week. It's always more difficult to project when a defender moves up in the formation. How are you going to project him? He's not going to move up to 50% chance to score. They usually play a little deeper. But either way, Jimenez got the start, and if he, again, starts in this attacking role, you'll know if he's in this attacking role first by going to our lineups page, but also if Adam Smith isn't in. So if Adam Smith isn't in, Jimenez is going to be playing as a right back. Either way, You're getting a $3,700 right back against Wolverhampton with the potential to do more attacking. That's pretty favorable. So you got two mispriced players for Bournemouth that, for cash games at least, they stand out a decent amount. That's kind of the main ones. And as we look into, trying to look through the optimizer here, but as we go back to forward, okay, Saka 10.3 didn't play midweek. He is rested. He could be in play for 90 minutes. Went 90 minutes against Manchester United. Had, what did he have? 20-point floor in that game. Again, even if I like Leeds in this game, even if I'm like, yeah, Leeds double chance, 10.3K for Saka, who is getting all these crosses, and I don't think he's really going to be a sub risk here. I think everyone saw the Madueke shot into the stands midweek. I don't think Madueke is going to come into Saka's minutes in this game. So Saka 10.3K. Trossard is a little cheaper here, 8,500. Minta probably too expensive here. Again, he's just not ready for 90 minutes. So I still, home against Everton, I just don't want a 70-minute starter. Maybe he's not. I guess he won't have set pieces with Pascal Gross. So without set pieces, 9,800. Just not really sure that's where I want to go. So that's kind of where you get to. Okay, Trossard's 8,500. Evan Nielsen down here, 7,700. One guy kind of stands out. Maybe he doesn't stand out, but I think he's interesting. Is Mateus Mane. Maybe it's Mateus Mane. That could be correct, but let me click into his profile here because he took all corners last week. I know it was against Manchester City. Sorry, he didn't take all of them. He split. He started splitting for the first time this season. He started splitting corners with Hugo Bueno. And you have him, he's at home, but it's against Bournemouth, 7,200. It is kind of pricey, but Mane has had a pretty good floor in most games this season. You look at the Newcastle one, didn't really do anything. Still had a shot and goal in that game. He committed a bunch of fouls. That's kind of why his numbers are down. But overall, his floor is pretty good. He already has a couple goals, 7,200. He's priced at 7,200 without set pieces, basically, because that's just like a one-game sample size. But if he's splitting again with Hugo Bueno, that's 7,200 right there. Not sure how many people go there when you have Trossard's 8,500, but I think it's a good spot. Everton and Jai at 6,800, probably a little too expensive here for my liking away from home. But in Jai, 90-minute player, we don't have Grealish anymore, so the minutes are going to be there. I like Tierno Barry in tournaments. His minutes are getting up there. He's been noticeably better than Beto. He's finding some form. He is a very optimistic player. He is a shit talker, I will say. So 6,400. If you can get a shit talker on your team for 6,400, you take it. So there's a good option. Dwight McNeil no longer in play if he's not going to have set pieces because Dewsbury Hall is back. Again, if Gabriel Jesus starts, he's 6K. Not really looking at these Leeds forwards, though. Calvert-Lewin, probably, he's 7,400. But again, tournament play. I think that's kind of what we're looking at for at least viable options. You got the Wolverhampton guys. I think Key-Chan has been playing. I guess he subbed at 71, but not much of a floor from these guys. Just pure tournament. Hope they score kind of a thing. So I do like Mane if we're talking floors and cash games. And then Pascal Gross, 8,400. Not very exciting. His price is slowly creeping up there, but look at the last two games. 16, 16.7, 26 crosses. This is like peak Pascal Gross right here, just in terms of floor, in terms of set pieces. And when you can get Lewis Cook sets for 3,500, it's not that difficult to get Pascal Gross in your team. So that's kind of what we're looking at for cash games in the midfield range. We also have Dewsbury Hall, too expensive at Brighton, 10.1K. Stotch, probably too expensive against Arsenal, 9.1K. You could also look at Declan Rice here. This could be, I think you should have room, depending on how else you fill out your lineup here. Maybe a little difficult to get Rice, Saka, and Gross, but I think it's, given some of these prices, you should be able to do it. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it'll be close to easy. Declan Rice, always a guy who can pop off, but split set pieces. And if you look at this game and, okay, maybe Leeds get an early goal, or even if it's scoreless and Arsenal are just pushing for, they could have 15 corners in this game. And we could see a 10-plus point floor from Declan Rice with a goal or assist. He's 8,200. Garner has pretty much been has hit value in seemingly every game. When was the last time he didn't have double-digit points? December 20th against Arsenal. So what? In his last 10 games, the only time he didn't have double-digit points was against Arsenal. Okay, that's pretty good. I know Dewsbury Hall is in here now to take some of these sets, but away from home, 8K is still pretty expensive, but you're going to get 10 points, at least 10 points from Garner. So I think you kind of look at it like that. Again, if Sean Longstaff starts, he would take some sets, but he's 6,900. Odegaard kind of dropping in price because he's not really doing too much. Seems like an early sub candidate as well, 6,600. Miedema, 6,300. I think that's a pretty good tournament play. Pretty good price here at home against Everton. Let me pull up the goal odds. Here we go. 4K Gyökeres. This is like, okay, 2 years ago we had Chris Wood at 4K, except he was on Newcastle and they weren't the biggest favorite. They weren't biggest favorites on the slate. They weren't the top team in the league. Now we have Gyökeres, best odds to score, 4K. Thank you, DraftKings, for putting time into this product because it is very nice. Kadioglu, 6,200. No. Krupa you mentioned before, 5,700. Hinshelwood. All these Brighton guys are just early sub candidates, so they're all kind of risky, except for Gross. Gross doesn't seem to be an early sub candidate. So shouts to Pascal Gross and returning to Brighton. It's fun, but that's kind of what we're looking at. I mentioned the Bournemouth cheap guys here, so don't really need to get into too much more. And defender here, let's try and get this in under 20 minutes. Again, split of set pieces for Hugo Bueno. That's fine. If De Kuiper starts, I don't think he's going 90. His minutes will be a concern. Bueno has been crossing a bunch lately, and 5,900, I think you can, if you have the money, it's a good spot. You also got the possibility of Timber is a cheaper 5K. You can get any of the Arsenal center backs if that's where you're going. Jimenez still stands out to me, 3,700. That's can't get around that. 5,800 for Raya. Let me see who I'm going to pick for goalkeeper. Last week it was Dubravka. I think Dubravka had a pretty solid game because I can't remember. I can't remember what happened last week. But I think it was Dubravka. I think it was the Dubravka week. I'll say Pickford here. Pickford at 4,100. Brighton aren't consistently scoring a ton of goals. Pickford has at least 3 saves in his last 5 games. Everton have been really good away from home. So I think that's the number one thing here. Their defense has traveled. Now they're actually healthier than they were. Branthwaite is an option again. I like that one a lot, 4,100. Jose Saab, 4,500. A little more expensive against Bournemouth. I'd still like Pickford there. So that's kind of what we're looking at. That's what we got. Thank you for listening. YouTube 15% off. To get all this stuff, hit us up in the Discord, rotowire.com/chat. Get our cheat sheets. Check all this out. And I think that's all I got. But thank you for listening and good luck in DFS and enjoy your weekend.